Stephen Conley is my name. I'm the ABP Agri Sustainability Manager, and today we're just going to talk about our new report that we've launched called the ABP Beef Benchmark Report. It's a new report we launched in the last couple of weeks in collaboration with ICBF. So we're just going to go through a few key points about the report. So firstly, what is the new report all about? So what information do you get? And a little bit about how do I read the report. And I suppose if anything doesn't make sense, I'd basically recommend anyone who doesn't understand any part of it to contact your ABP site, and we'll happily give you a call and go through anything in your report that doesn't make sense. So look, the report was developed, first of all, it's to provide benchmarking for farmers supplying ABP. So you can compare your performance versus the average farmer supplying ABP and the top 10%. So it'll allow you to make maybe management decisions to maybe improve maybe certain attributes of your production system, or look at ways that maybe you can reduce costs. So maybe can you increase a little bit of carcass weight? Can you reduce the age maybe slightly of your cattle? Can you get more animals in spec? Because I suppose take for example the in spec. If you get more animals in spec, it makes you have more valuable animals, so leaving you with more money in your pocket. So I suppose that is a key part, one key part of the report. The second key part is to look at the environmental, the viral footprint of your cattle. So it will show basically how your farm, or how carbon efficient your farm or your animals is compared to the top 10% or the average farmer supplying ABP. So basically, to move on to what's in the report, or what do I need to look for, we'll just run through an example report and talk through it. So this report is basically, your report will be from basically the 1st of January 2020 to the 31st of December 2020. So it's an annual report currently, but over the next couple of weeks and months, this report will be more readily available after you send animals to an ABP site. So you'll be able to log on to your ICBF Herd Plus and look up the details of these animals. So basically how the report works, on the first page you have a herd summary, and it breaks down your animals into bulls, steers and heifers. And then it goes a step further, because not every farmer may have different types of these animals. So you have beef crossed beef, which are your suckler bred. So for example, there's 9 of them. So you have 9 suckler bred bulls. Your beef cross dairy. Beef cross dairy is your beef animals bred from dairy cows. So that could be an Angus or a Hereford animal bred from a Holstein Friesian cow, a dairy cow. So in this example, there's two of these in the bull category and 37 in the steer category, and dairy cross dairy. So these are your male dairy calves from dairy cows, or maybe it could be sometimes you might have some dairy heifers that may be not suitable for breeding, and there's 3. So that's what it does first of all. So it breaks your animals into your different segments, so steer, bull and heifer, and then different systems. It then breaks down your animals that you've sent in the last year to the ABP site to give you a greenhouse gas output per kg of carcass weight. So basically what that is if we take these suckler bred, these beef animals, beef cross beef, and we look at your steers, for this herd, the average CO2 per kg of carcass weight is 10.96. So this herd has a figure of 10.96. So for every kg of carcass, it has a greenhouse gas output of 10.96 kilos. The national average, this is the average farmer supplying steers to ABP, is 13.24. And the top 10% of farmers supplying steers, suckler bred steers to ABP, is 10.93. So you can see that this herd here, it's very close to the top 10%, within the top 10%. So these graphs here will show the closer you are to the right hand side, the better performance your herd. And it also is the same for your heifers, your young bulls, in the different categories. So it gives you a guide where you are, where you're sitting compared to your peers. It then goes and it breaks down each individual group. So we'll stick with the beef cross beef steers. So these are your suckler bred steers. So not everyone will finish suckler bred steers. It'll break this down for, we'll say, your suckler bred heifers, your dairy bred, your dairy beef heifers, which are Angus and Hereford from the dairy herd. But for this example, we're going to stick with the suckler bred steers. So what it firstly does is it looks at how many your animals are meeting market spec. So for example, your carcass conformation. So animals are grading greater than or equals to O equals. So in this period, it was 19 animals slaughtered. 95% of these animals were O equals or greater. Again, whereas nationally or the average for ABP is 98, so a little bit below the average. You can see fat class spec is 2 plus to 4 equals. 74% of these animals were a fat class of 2 equals to 4 equals. Nationally is 89%. So a little bit of work to do here. You can see they're slightly below, which probably means some of these animals are either underfinished or overfinished, and we'll see that when we come to the end. Age less than 30 months. All these animals are under 30 months. So look, this farm is performing very well. Movements is that they have less than or equal to 3 movements, so 95% of them are in spec for that. And then it gives an overall, so how many of your animals have met the conformation, fat, age, and movement spec? 63%, versus the average rate is 79%. So I suppose that's something there straight off the bat. You can see, right, what can I do to hit more of these specs? Because the more you get close to 100%, it means you're maximizing the value of your animal that you send into ABP. So it's very good, it's very important to basically benchmark this. It then goes into more detail, and it basically looks at your slaughter performance and how they compare to your herd versus the national average versus the top 10%. So you can see for this farm, his herds have an average carcass weight of 325 kilos versus the national average is 389. So look, he is behind, but I think when we go further down into the report and we look at age, he is considerably lower in age. So it's important to say for carcass weight, we don't rank herds or don't rank herds for weight, because more weight is not always better. If you look at conformation, you can see this herd here is an R equals versus national average is an R equals. But the top 10% are U minus. So that's the target. Look, get more conformation from these suckler bred animals. The average fat for this herd is 2 plus versus national average 3 plus. So this is something here that it's flagging that there may be an issue with fat cover from these animals. So 2 plus versus 3 plus. The target would be a 3. So some of these animals are probably grading at 2 equals or 2 minus. So that means they'll be missing out maybe on some of the quality assurance bonuses, and they'll be missing out on the grid. So something here to work with, and maybe you could talk to your farm advisor or talk to your ABP farm liaison or procurement manager in the sites to see, well, what can we do to basically get more of these animals in spec. So the big one here on this farm is the age of slaughter. Average age is 671 days versus the national average is 848. So very simple maths here. What I always do is if I want to convert that into months, if you divide the days by 30.4, it will convert to this, the average amount of days in a month. It'll give it to months. So this herd here is finishing his suckler bred steers at 22 months versus the national average is close to 28 months for ABP. So there's a considerable difference there. Gains there from that farm, that there are less days on the farm, less costs. Yes, he has less weight, but still at 22 months to be finished at 325 is really good performance. If we then move down to average daily gain on farm, so this average daily gain for the last 100 days. So this farm here has never applied any weights in the last 100 days, so he doesn't have an average daily gain figure. So it's very important, the more weighing is very important to get more information, to get more out of this report. Lifetime average daily gain, this is the average weight these animals have put on through their entire lifetime. So on this farm, they're 0.87, so that's 870 grams of carcass the animals put on a day, whereas the average for ABP supplier and steers is 810 grams or 0.81. And the top 10% are doing 940 grams a day. So like, you're looking at 70 grams more put on every day in these top 10% of herds. So there's a little bit of work there you can do to try and improve maybe grassland management, maybe get some nutrition, improve the nutrition, genetics, all play a role of getting this daily gain higher. And maybe just to go back to the age piece and for this rank, what does rank mean? So basically, 5 stars what you're aiming for. Herds with her 5 star are the top performing herds. Herds with 1 star are the bottom performing herds. So 1 star, you're in the bottom 20%, 5 star, you're in the top 20%. So this herd here is a rank 94%, which means it's in the top 6% for age at slaughter for suckler bred steers. So really important that it allows you to compare and benchmark to other suppliers of similar stock. Look, I'm not going to talk about output per livestock unit. That's just how much kilos of carcass produced per livestock unit on your farm. Then you have cleanliness. So obviously you want to have clean cattle. So it looks just show you how you compare. And fluke and abscess. So that's a very important score. Maybe you're having a high fluke and abscess score. Maybe you need to talk to your vet. What's very novel about this report, and I suppose it's the first of its kind, is it gives a greenhouse gas output per animal and greenhouse gas output per kg of live weight and on a carcass basis. So it's expressed in kg CO2 equivalent. So it's the kilos of carbon per carcass, or CO2 kilos of carbon per kgs of carcass weight or live weight. So for these 19 animals, if we just look on, we look again on the carcass weight per kg of carcass, 19 animals. This farm 10.96 kilos of carbon per kg of carcass weight, 10.96 versus the average herd supply in ABP is 13.34 and the top 10% 10.93. So this herd it's in the top 10% on emissions intensity. So it is a carbon efficient herd. It's in the top 10% for kgs of carbon produced. So really good figure. So the higher the better. And the same with live weight, top 9%. So really good figures. So next we'll move on to the commercial beef value. So what is it? So it's a new index for identifying the most profitable beef animals for finishing. It's a new index developed by Carcass and ICBF, and basically it's the terminal index minus the calving difficulty figure on the terminal index and gestation figures. So it's purely on the finishing attributes of the animal. So it includes docility, feed intake, carcass weight, conformation, and fat. So within this report, it breaks up the animals into the top third on the farm for the commercial beef value, average, and bottom third. No index means these are animals that don't have a commercial beef value because they don't have a sire recorded maybe. So it's very important to record the sire to basically get more out of this report. So the top third have a commercial beef value, as you can see here, of €88. And the bottom third have a commercial beef value of €44. So what that means is that the animals in the top third group with a commercial beef value of €88 should be €44 more profitable than animals in the bottom third. Okay, so we're going to leave €44 more money in their pocket through maybe better feed efficiency, more carcass weight, etc. So let's put proof to it or see does it work. So I think the first one is age of slaughter. As you can see here, the average age of slaughter of the top third were 646 days of age versus the bottom third was 709 days of age. So 63 days younger starting off straight away. 63 days, less feed, less costs. And then we look at the carcass weight, and we can see the average carcass weight in the top third were 342 kilos versus the bottom third group with 301. So you're getting 41 kilos more carcass weight at 63 days younger. So I suppose if you think about the economic impact on that for your farm, and also the environmental, there are less days on farm, less methane being produced, they're more carbon efficient. And then look at the grading. R plus, the top third, bottom, or O plus. So again, if you think about adding value to our carcasses, these animals are going to grade more, they're going to have a higher cents per kg of carcass weight. So very important, it highlights the importance of selecting more higher index animals, whether it be on this new commercial beef value or other indexes are available. So I suppose that is the new ABP Beef Benchmark Report. I hope you've got something from it. And if you need any more details on it, contact your local ABP site and we'll happily go through in more detail, and we hope you found this beneficial. Thank you.